What up? What up, Mike? Hey, let me know if the sound is cool, if you can hear it, because I'm still working out with this program, trying to figure out how the best settings and the best way to work it. You can hear it? The keys are too loud, or need to be louder, and the drums can come down. How's that? I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe a little lower. How's that? I don't know why this sound is sounding weird. Keys could be louder. How's that? Raise the keys. Is that better? Like, it's weird. Like the bass, like certain sounds of this is not working for some reason. It's like a tainted version of what it really is supposed to sound like. Like I notice it's like muffled or something. It's weird, like especially in this area. Like the low notes don't even play. I'm like, what? I don't understand. But watch, like you could tell, watch, if I start it with a piano, it sounds cool at first, and then it like sounds weird after. Watch, ready? Sound switch. Now it's all muffled. Like, I don't understand why. Why is it doing that? Maybe if I start a whole new instrument, try it from scratch, see if that helps. Is that better? I think it is better. I have no sound filters on OBS. It's better. So I know it was the plug-in, but I don't like this sound. This sound sucks. But it's not doing what it was doing before. So let me see if I could pick keyscapes now. If it'll do it again. If I could pick any of these keyboards, because these are way better if they work right. Sounds better. There we go. I don't know what was going on. It was weird. That's better, right? Better, right? Let me know if it sounds good, because I want to get the sound right. Sounds like I like the sound, but it's not doing weird stuff. Sounds like me. Trade-offs. Yeah, let me know what needs to be tweaked so I can find out that golden ratio. You know what I'm saying? Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Yuletide carols being sung. Being sung by the choir and folks dressed up like Eskimos. You guys play any piano at all? If you guys do, I could show you some things that has helped me. Because I got this piano or camera set up so you can see my hands. And then I can turn and you can see my face. And then if I show you some stuff on Logic on this program, you can see what I'm doing inside the software. And I was originally testing this out playing games, but I was like, you know what? I figured out the game stuff. Now, what can I do with the music stuff? And I use my phone. I found this app that allows me to mirror. It's not like it's not an Apple TV thing or an Apple thing. It's its own app that goes through Wi-Fi. So I don't know how the syncing is, if it's syncing up properly, or if the sound, if you hear this and it plays when I play it, or if there's a latency or delay. I have no idea, but I have a feeling there might be some weird things like that. Like maybe my vocals will be matched, but I have a feeling because this phone is set up on a Wi-Fi that this may be, like if I play a chord, it may be delayed. Judging by what it looks like from here, watching it, it looks like that's what it's doing. Yes, I play mediocrely. I'd love some tips on how you understand and know chord progressions. I play guitar, bass, and some drums. I can play some chords on piano, but not like really playing piano. Delay is pretty... Oh, okay, that's good. Well, for me, like, music has been a cool journey because for the longest time, it's like, I've had the mindset of, oh, music is infinite, and, you can get overwhelmed thinking of all the chords and possibilities that other people know that you don't. And so you think you suck all the time. But in my life, I've realized I've trimmed the fat, and I'm not the best player. There's a lot of people that are much, much better than me. A lot. All my friends are better than me. But I ask questions, and I'm not afraid to look like I suck when I ask questions, But in my journey, I've learned that everybody knows do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, right? Everybody knows this. So the important thing is knowing that and recognizing that that's a major scale, right? And a major scale is a series of notes. And let's say this is C major, right? And it's all the white notes. And if you had, if you were going to play in a different key, it wouldn't be all the white notes. It would be like if I played it in A flat, it would be, right? But how do I know to play those notes? Well, using C again, if you start on C and you go up all the way like this, chromatically, you'll see how many steps are in between to create this scale in C, right? So you skip one, right? This is a half step. And this is a whole step. So if there's no space in between, no note in between, it's a half step. If there's a note in between, it's a whole step. So the sequence is starting on the 1. From here to here is not a half step, it's a whole step. So whole step from here to here is not a half step, that's a half step, it's a whole step. So you got whole step, from here to here, oh, that's a half step, right? So whole step, half step. Here's a whole step, because you're skipping this, so whole step, half step, whole step, skipping that, whole step, skipping that, and a half step. So you got 2 half steps. You got these 2, right? From here to here and from here to here. So that creates that. And if you use that same idea in anything, whether whole step, half step, whole step, half step, then you got to memorize it, or at least train your ears. Like, I didn't learn that based on that idea. I know that now, but I've always allowed my ears to take me to what it needs to be, And then over the years of practicing with fingering and stuff like that, like those little things. So now that that's out of the way, in the major scale, right? In do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's your key. That's your scale. So what can you do with that? Well, if you start a chord on C, right, and you move it up, the same triad, you find out what chords are inside of that scale. It's all the families within this scale. So on the 1, you have C major. On the 2, you have D minor, right? On the 3, E minor. F major, right? G major. A minor. B diminished. Or half diminished, sorry. And then C again. So you got major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. what's helped me realize like what can make you play better and understand music is if you learn each of those positions and all their inversions. So C, right? You play C. What's another inversion of C? Take this lower note and move it up here. So instead of here, I have that. Now I take this lower note E and put it up here. Now I have that. Then I take this lower note G and put it up here. And now I'm back to C again. So I got that, and that. Those are all my positions for C major in just with those keys. And you could do the same thing going up the scale. So now you have C, then you go to D minor. Right? E minor. All its inversions. F major. G major. A minor. B half diminished. And then back to C. So learning that and then learning that in all the keys will help you a lot. And I don't want to be boring. There might be a bit of a delay. Yeah, there is a delay. I'm sure there's a delay. What's up? Get a job! Savage. 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 I can't play it on the keys. So the style that I like to play has a lot of the diminished sound in it, and what I've learned is using this technique, going up the scale and realizing that these are all your chords, because a lot of musicians use number references as communication, for a chord progression. They'll say like, oh, it's a 2-5-1, and you might not know what that means, right? But if you count up the scale, instead of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, you'll have it as numbers, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you have 1 again, because that's 1 there. So you know that 2 is minor. So 2 is in C is D minor. The 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if you just move these like this, the 5 is G major, 1. So 2, 5, 1, right? At its core. But then you can add your own style on it. So I know that it's D minor, G dominant 7, G7, C, right? So I can do any. And 2, 5, 1, do, re, mi, fa, sol, do. So 2, 5. That's a 2-5-1. And sometimes you'll hear a 3. 1, 2, 3, 6. So 4, 5, 6. 2, 5, right? 3, 6, 2, 5. And you know what's crazy about the Jesse stuff, right? Because music has taught me a lot about order, right? And this is what sold me with Jesse and everything is like he talks about the order of Christianity. How it's God, God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, woman over children, right? Well, music, I realize music teaches the same thing. Because whatever key you're in, right? I'm in the key of life, living my life, right? And I need God to be my home base, to teach me, to show me the way, right? It's always going to be leading back to God. And if I'm going to be the head of my wife one day and be a leading man, I want to always be the source to leading back to God and what's right. So if you think of it this way, right? If I'm in C would be God, because that's the laws. That's the law that we're setting. We're setting that I'm in the key of C, and that's the key of God, right? So the 1 is God, right? And in every scale, right, you have 3 major chords. You have 1, D minor is minor, E minor is minor, F is major, so that's 1 more major, G is major, A minor, diminished, major. So you have 3 majors in the scale, right? What do you know? 3 majors. That's God, man, and woman. Those are the 3 majors in a family, right? God being the first. So you the 4, right? The 4 is in music is called the subdominant. and the 4 leads to the 5, and the 5 leads to the 1. So the 4 is the subdominant, that's the wife, and the dominant is the man, the father that leads the family. So if you think of that, right? Because if I go up in the scale, you'll see, like, it's crazy. So you got God, right? It's leading you back, and the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 wants to go to 1. It's like, I'm the father, you're back to 1, right? It leads to God, the root of the chord progression. And the 4 leads to the father. So, like, the minors would be the minor children, right? It'd be like the son. The son leads to the father, leads to God. It's crazy to think about, but like I realize that that's exactly what it is. Is that, like, all this stuff that, you know, you can talk about with the spiritual life and the order and everything, it's all inside music, and it teaches us without telling us, because, like, people will tell us with words. They'll be like, hey, and you intellectualize, like Jesse says, but music is just about, like, there's no words or interpretation for me to take. It's like, it's obviously clear that that's what it is, because it's a feeling. It's like a mixture of emotion and in order and intellect. It's everything. So it's like I can feel that that's what it is that the 1 is like, it's called the tonic, and it's like leading me. It's like, I'm home, you know? And the 5 leads back to the 1. So I just thought that was interesting, that music terminologies kind of make up the same order of family, which is that the 1 is, you know, home base, it's God. The 4 is the subdominant, and the 5 is the dominant. And it's not in a sense of, you know, like, we know, because we watch Jesse and stuff, we know that it's not about ego, it's not about controlling your wife. It's about everything playing a role. Like, every note on here is just as important as any other note, but together they create harmony, and they create, like, awesome music. And I think that's what Trevor, I'd love to get to some club with my cousin. We are Christian Bears, and he has exceptional talent doing big things. Yeah, shoot me an email. TrevorWesley@gmail.com. So, yeah. But you know what's crazy is, like, I know that if you don't make music or don't play an instrument or something, it can be super confusing. You're like, what the hell are you talking about? Because it does sound insane. But being as I've made music and kind of studied and smoked a lot of pot and sat and figured out, like, wow, what does this mean? Why is this relation to this note and this and that? And I realized that it's all so simple. And really the hard part is trimming the fat of what you don't know. You know, like, once you realize what is necessary, then you trim the fat away and you go, oh, okay, I can really see it for what it is. And every major chord has a relative minor, meaning that a major and a minor can be interpreted as the same thing or different. So, for example, C major, right? The first chord, the 1, the God chord. That has a relative minor, meaning if I'm playing the C chord, if I change the bass note, now it's A minor. Even though I'm playing, because look, A minor is here, right? And the 1 chord consists of 1, 3, and 5. So the only thing different about A minor chord is that instead of G, it's an A. So it's really a major 6. So C, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would be a major 6, which is an inversion of A minor. Remember the inversions? So this is the same as C, just 1 note off. So it's like, every major has a relative minor. It's like the example. It's like minor, right? A minor is a child, and the adult is the example and sets the tone to be the example for the minor. So every major has a relative minor. So C's relative, let's go through them. C's relative minor is a third down in the scale to A minor. D is a minor, so its relative major, because it's a third down, go a third up, it's F, right? We'll go to the majors in the major scale and figure out their relative minor. So A major, C major is A minor. F major is D minor. Right? And G is E minor. So they're all connected somehow, and you basically use them to bounce off of one another and create tension and release, just like life. You know, you suffer and then you overcome, and then it feels good. But you wouldn't have been able to appreciate overcoming if you didn't suffer first. So it's like a suspended chord is not a major or a minor, because this is C major and this is C minor, right? Then if I make it suspended, that means that it's not C major or C minor. So it's suspended. It's like, do I become major or do I become minor? So it would be, because I could resolve, right? Whichever one. It sounds like a resolve. So music is all about tension and release and resolving, creating some sort of thing that feels weird but then feels good, you know? So that's our tension and resolve, you know? It always leads back to God. Isn't that crazy? Get a job. Play Sweet Victory by SpongeBob. I don't know Sweet Victory. What do you think about minor flat 9 or 9 flat 5? Those are my favorite chords, actually, Craig. I think that those chords, this is like a secret doorway to those. And I'll show you, because if you were asking about those chords, that means you know something about those chords. Like, let me show you this, right? Diminished chords. There's only 3 diminished chords. There's only 3. And then they're all inversions of it. So if I start here, right? That's a diminished chord, right? Then I move up. That's a diminished chord. And that's a diminished chord. But once I go up again, those are the same, that's the same diminished chord that I started with, this one. Right? I'm just in an inversion of it. It's all the same chord, it's just an inversion. So if I'm there, right? Those are all my diminished chords. And then there's just inversions of them. So within this diminished chord, if I lower any of these notes, right? I have a C, E flat, F sharp, A, right? If I lower one of those notes at a time, I'll lower the C first. I have a B. It's a B dominant. Now we'll go back to C again. We'll lower this one now. Now we have a D dominant. We're just one note away from each one of these being a dominant. Now I'll lower the third one. Now it's an F dominant, right? Now I'll lower the fifth. A flat dominant. So we're one note away in all of these, right? So with the minor flat 5-9 chord, I realized that that is a half diminished, right? So if I'm in C, I move up. This is a minor flat 5, because if this was a B minor, it would sound like this, right? B minor is relative minor to D major. So if I flatten the 5 of B minor, 2, 3, 4, 5, that gives me a half diminished, right? And if I add the A in there, the half diminished is actually a dominant chord. This is like a C, a G dominant. If I add a G in the bass, it becomes a G dominant. So a minor 9 flat 5 is a dominant chord. pretends to be different things. It's interesting. Because this sounds like it wants to go to me, but if I had a G in the bass, you hear that? It's weird, right? Because I'm basically creating a suspended chord on the G, but the third is here. I'm resolving there. So I realized with these minor 9 flat 5 chords, you could play off of any dominant chord from the 1, the 3, or the 5 and create a minor 9 flat 5 chord around it, and it's cool. So for example, if I'm playing a 2-5-1, right, D minor to G to C, right? So it's 2, 5, 1. So the 5 is a dominant chord. So if I start on the 1, right, that's my position. If I start on the 3, that's my position. And if I start on the 5, that's my position. And I can minor these, you know, minor flat 5, all of them. So if I want to do a 2-5-1, I can go to I can stay here on the 5, 1, right? 2, 5, 1. Or I can go 2, 5. Because it's all the same. So you're just interchanging positions that you want to play. And dominant chords are fun to do that with. And I like to do stuff like, if it's G, right? If the G is the 5, and you have 1, 3, 5 of G, right? I could play a minor 9 flat 5 on any of these and create a movement in there. So if this is the chord, I could be like, you hear that? Does that make sense? Beta! Is this logic? This is logic, yeah. There are only 3 diminished chords. Exactly. There's only 3 diminished chords. Your son is 11 and gets all this stuff. That's awesome. I wish I got all that stuff when I was 11. Because I could play when I was 11. I wasn't the best, but I'm still not the best. But I played by ear, and it was fun for me to play. But it took a while. It took me to get certain things under my fingers before I can intellectualize and process what I was doing. I knew that I was playing a major or minor chord, and that's about it. I didn't really go too far into anything else. What was the last thing you did with the 2-5-1? I'm just using the 5 as an example, right? Like, this is just stuff that has helped me in my life, realizations that blew my mind. Like, whoa, I never realized that as long as I've been playing. And there are little tiny things that just never clicked that I missed. And like the 5, right? In any scale, there's only one dominant chord, right? There's only one. That's the 5 chord. And then you could, of course, intermit the tritone of that. Every 5 has a tritone, right? 5 tritone, which you could go instead of doing a 5, right? 2, 5, 1, or 2. If you didn't know that. So the 5 is everything. But what I was saying earlier is the 5, right? The 5 in C is G. So what are the inversions of the 5? You got the 1 position. You can play it here, you know. Then you got the 2, which is really a B diminished, right? So that's the second position. And then the 5th one with those movements I was doing earlier, they're like this, right? Here's a regular minor flat, 5, 9, whatever. What I was doing was I realized that if I'm thinking of this chord as G, then what if I thought of it as a G suspended? So this is my 3 of G, right? 1, 3, 5. So when I'm playing, so I suspended it, knowing that that's my G chord. And then in the right hand, I basically moved all these notes down a half step with that. And I just basically copied and pasted that whole movement from C, from D minor. So this. But I just used it on the 5, so if it's a 2, 5, 1, 2, 5, it doesn't really work there. You can only do there. 1, right? I don't know if I'm talking too much. It sounds spooky. Does it? I took piano lessons at age 10 at Los Olas. Yeah, when I was young and I started taking lessons and stuff, it wasn't as fun anymore. I stopped playing because it was like work. But then I picked it up again because I would just play by ear, and playing by ear and playing because I love to play is what led me to being curious as an adult to be like, damn, all right, I need to learn this theory stuff. Get a job. Okay. Got the, it's not funny. Lost the audio. Did you? Or was it just... There, now you can hear me. I forget every scene I gotta add a new... This program is so like customizable. It's almost too customizable because you forget to do little steps. All right, now I got sound on this page. Well, look at that. I can pick different scenes. Be like, hey guys, oh, hey guys. Just gotta get my lighting and my outfit, Reading sheet music was difficult for me. I hated sheet music. I still hate sheet music. Yeah, I'm pretty self-taught. I've done I've learned over my life, like I started with fingering, right? That's one thing that helped me when I was young is I learned the right fingering for scales of a major and a minor scale. So at a young age I learned that. And I learned majors and minors and diminished, but I didn't really understand the roles or the relatives too much. At the end of the day, it just comes down to practicing everything you know in all keys. That if you know how to play anything, even if it's Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and you just know how to play, then change it. Go like this. And then you're like, all right, sweet. And then move on. Because it'll teach you, if you just practice what you already know in other keys, everything will start to come together because I don't know. It's like how Jesse says, you know, if you're out of your head and you take on what's in front of you, along the way it'll be revealed. So if what's in front of you is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and that's all you know, then just handle that. And along the way, you'll learn more. You'll start to realize, wow, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star is in a major scale. It's in whatever key, it's in major, right? And then you can figure out the root, the bass, what chords can I play with that? Like, you know, because it's in C, right? Or whatever key you're in. But C's easy because it's all white notes. If you just move the bass line around, then you start to get familiar intuitively what chords do what, because music all does the same kind of stuff. Everything is a 5 to 1. Like, it's always 5 to 1. And the funny thing about that is that how many spaces is 5 away from 1? Well, if you go up, it's 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if you go up from 5, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So a fourth and a fifth can be the same thing, right? A fifth going up is a fifth, but a fourth going down is a fifth because it's the same thing, right? It's just the distance from going up or going down. So what if you go up in fourths? Then it leads you to the 4. Like, a fourth and a fifth is always going to lead you to a dominant chord, a major chord. Because, I don't know, it's interesting. If you're starting on a major chord, so that's a fourth, right? And then a fifth is there. And if I go down a fourth, I go to G. If I go down a fifth, I go to F. I don't know, it's just interesting to me. When did you start playing guitar? I should have kept playing guitar. I played in high school. Hey Trevor, can you play the chords from the original Hey Glah 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 as Mexican Friend? How's it go? It's minor, I already know. It's change that, you could start. Or you can play. It's all about the melody, right? And it's all in C. It's in D minor, but it's in C because play it as that sound. It sounds funny. Brother Wesley, the email is sent. Oh, sweet. Thank you for the email. This is tripping me out. Brother Wesley, the email is... What is tripping you out? I take it for granted because music is easy for me. I mean, when I'm around certain people that are just amazing musicians, of course, I get tripped out too. But like for me, it's like, oh, this is stuff I know, you know? Melody is king. But it's like you could take shapes, you know? Moving the same shape around in the scale. Right? I don't know. What matters in music, right? Everything is either a major chord or a minor chord with colors added to it. And what does that mean? It means that you have your root on a chord, right? You have, like, if you're going to play a major chord, you have that, right? What roles do each of these positions mean? It means that this is your root. This defines, the third defines whether it's major or minor, and the fifth is the color tone within it. So I know that the 3 determines major or minor, so if I move this down, I get minor, right? So if I move this 5 note tone around while I'm major, I'm still playing major, just with added color tones. It's still major, C major. And the same with minor. So if you know that, then you can add flavor and color to any major or minor chord using that technique. And if you notice the 1 in the C major chord, up here is the 1 too. So I could use these colors down here because it's the same idea. It's like I could go down, right? Or minor. So let's say a 2-5-1, right? You got 1, 3, and 5, right? On your 2. The 5 is 1, 3, and 5 on your 5, and 1. 1, 3, 5 on your 1. So on 2, right? You could raise the 5, you could lower it, or you could move down from the 1, drop it, right? So 2, 5, and on the 5 you can do the same thing with the colors. So you could be, you know, because it's just a major chord with added colors. And then you can play with inversions, you know. So if you're going to play a raise the 5, and then that kind of walks to the 3 of the 5 chord. Raise the 5, that walks to the 3 of the 1 chord. Like, see how everything leads somewhere. Does this make sense to you? Because these are things I wish people taught me when I was younger. When I first started playing, if someone came to me and like, all right, let me break it down, just just the basics of fundamentals of how music works, and you know, just the simplicity of it. It's really simple. And not to say that this way of thinking is like end all be all, but it's just what's worked for me. So I like to share it with other people. Because to me, knowledge is like when you buy something new and it's like you want to share it, you know? You get a new car, it's like I'm just going to drive by myself, nobody in the passenger seat to be like, isn't this sweet, you know? So when I learn stuff or I have knowledge about stuff, I love to share it with people. And it's frustrating sometimes because, you know, being in Hollywood and LA and the entertainment industry and being around such great musicians, a lot of musicians, they feel threatened by telling other people what they know. You know, like they think that they're going to lose something from it. But I always say, you can't put out a candle. Your candle doesn't go out if you light someone else's candle with your candle. It still is going, you know? Or like I'd ask people like, man, what did you play there? Like when you were playing this, what was that you did there? And they're like, man, I don't know, man. It was God. I'm like, come on, bro. You know exactly what you're doing. All this stuff, like music and the stuff Jesse Lee Peterson talks about with order of family, and then this other thing that called the Fibonacci Sequence and the golden ratio, I swear it's all tied in together. Because here, I want to show you guys something that blew my mind that I realized. And no one told me this stuff, all right? I realized it with the correlation of music and everything. Like, because I make music, going to watch Jesse, and I learned about the Fibonacci sequence some years ago, but because I found out about Jesse after I knew about the Fibonacci sequence, and I realized, you know, the music order and stuff like that was all like very similarly connected. I'll show you this Fibonacci thing and how it connects to that. Just gotta find a picture. Fibonacci sequence. Yeah. Because I need a picture of what it does. Alright, this one's cool. Save image. Or maybe I can just do it like this. Let me see. I can add a window capture. I believe that's what it is. I'll just put internet because I get to choose. Okay, this is, here it is. I found it. So now I got the web page up here. Hold on. Now I can let's see, crop this. So the Fibonacci sequence is like 0, right? 0 is nothing. Nothing births the number 1. And because your number, it's like when you're born, right? You're a baby, you're born, you're in the womb, you're 0, and you take your first breath and you become, you know, you learn the first thing. You see, you cry, right? Now you're 1. You've learned something about the physical world. And the only thing you can reference is where you've been and what you just learned. So that duplicates itself. So with 0, right? You know nothing, and then you learn something. And then it's duplicated because everything is duality, right? You have opposite. So if you learn to cry, you learn to laugh or whatever. So you learn one, and then you learn the opposite. It mirrors itself, and that's that. And once you're one again, then you only know yourself and what you've been through, and that creates two. And now that you're two, not in age, but now that you're the number two, and you add your previous, what you learned, one, then you become three. And then once, you're three, you can become, oh shit. Potential spam. That's what my phone says. Sweet. I don't want your spam call. Have you guys heard of the Fibonacci sequence before I even gotta find this stream? What does Jesse have to do with Fibonacci? Oh, okay, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. What's going on? Why is this showing this like this? This looks insane. Oh, that's why. What does Jesse have to do with the Fibonacci sequence? Well, you know how Jesse says there's an order, which is God, God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, woman over children, and all that stuff? Well, if you look at the Fibonacci sequence, you'll see that it's 0, 1. 0 is God, right? And 1 is God in Christ. And then the 1 again is Christ in man. Or it could be, it's you could see it that way, or you could see it as, because I get confused which way to see it as, but you could see it as each one. Look at the Adam and Eve story, right? This was the original way I thought of it. The Adam and Eve story, right? There's God. He created Adam with his hands, which is number 1, right? And then he created Eve with the rib of Adam, right? So that's 1 created again, and 1 was created from the 1. So those together can create the number 2, which is man and woman as 1, 2, but it all leads back to God. And 3 and all the other numbers are like the children and the creation, because it just keeps going. But it's really not that complicated, but I connect with it and see that this golden ratio is connected into that story somehow. And that if you do see it as the Adam and Eve thing, then you could also see it as 0 being God, 1 being God in Christ, 2 being the first 1 being God in Christ, and then Christ in man, the second one, and then the 2 representing the same of man and woman. But I don't know. If you guys don't see it, maybe you don't see it. But to me, it makes sense. Does that make sense? Shane, yeah, exactly. 1 + 1. Like you have Adam, and then you can't create another human being from 0. You have to create it from 1 again. And then that continues to go. If that makes sense. Does it make sense? It makes sense to me. I don't know if it's too intellectual or what, but it's not like I was trying to think of it. It just hit me one day. I was like, dang, that's crazy. I remember trying to talk to Jesse about some Fibonacci numbers. He's like, what are you saying? He's like, you sound nuts. He black. You don't see it. All right. You don't see that 0 is God, 1 is Adam, and then 1 creates 1 again, and that's Eve. That God is 0, Adam is 1, and Eve was created as Adam's rib, which creates 1 again. 2 individuals that are separate but the same. Opposites. 1 is man and 1 is woman. And then that 2 represents that it's its own entity, right? 2 is them combined, being one identity. And then And then from there on, that's what makes sense. And then from there on would just be the creation of the children and what you create from that. But you have to start with God birthing one, birthing another one, and then from there on. I don't know if it makes sense to you guys, but it makes sense to me. So fuck off. You definitely have a different mind from me. I'm sure. I hope so. That's what makes life awesome, is that we're all different and we get to share what we see. Sometimes I would think that, like, what if God was, you know how God is all-knowing and everything? And what if he was all-knowing because his perspective was all of our perspective combined? So every person is playing a part in God's all-knowingness. Because there's so many different kinds of people, you know. People think different things. There's depressed people. There's happy people. There's suicidal people. Like, God would experience everything for himself. I don't know, you know. It's like each person's experience is a piece of what God is knowing, is his all-knowingness. I don't know. Smoked a lot of weed in my life, all right? Thanks for the stream, it's been amazing. I've got to go. Have a great... All right, man. Thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. You find it everywhere in nature. It's like God's fingerprint. Yeah, for sure. When I first found out about the Fibonacci sequence, I was like, wow, that's amazing. It totally, like, blew my mind. Why does this look like this? There is a delay on here. Well, I've been on here an hour, so maybe I'll hop off of here too and come back on a little later. Try and figure out some more cool stuff with this program. Amazing. Amazing. That is amazing. You know what I need to do? I need to create an intro video so that when I come do my live videos, it plays before that. You know how Jesse's got, I know we can find. To play and sing. We give our plans up. I know we can have faith in the unseen. While we stand up and go back to the way we were designed. Same crap. But anyways, we get the hell up on out of here. Much love, guys. I appreciate you coming and hanging out with me. I will do this again. Is Jesse Lee Peterson in the building? What's up, Jesse Lee Peterson? We know that's not Jesse. Jesse's too busy living in his perfect peace. He's not on a computer, on YouTube, on my chat. That must be... I know who it is. anyways, I'm really out of here this time. Peace out, my friends. Oh, look, it's Nick. As soon as I'm gonna leave, people are here. All right, guys. Peace. Peace out. Like, share, and subscribe, like they all say. Like, share, subscribe, comment, everything. Peace.